All right. So, welcome to this is part 5, I want to say. This is part 4 of my Fortnite Inside My Mind series that I'm doing. Today we're going to talk about loadout optimization. So this is just making sure you know the best loadout for you, your best playing style, and everything in between. So the first thing I want to talk about, this is going to be my big point today that I'll probably say a lot throughout this video, is know the meta. So each season, obviously, all the guns change. We get new weapons, we get new movement, we get all these new items, and that changes every season. So, I mean, even we actually just had an update the other day, so the meta changed again, and it wasn't huge, but we did get several new guns and a couple new mythic items. So knowing the meta is super, super important. Knowing the weapons, understanding them makes all the difference when you play this game. So we're going to talk about during this game a couple different things. I'll talk through my loadout. I'll talk through a couple different loadout options that you can run through, and then I'll also talk about adaptability, healing priority. So whether you should carry healing items or whatever the case may be. So first off, I'm just going to clear this location. We've got a couple people. There's one other person that landed back there somewhere, so I'll definitely want to keep an eye out for them. Real quick, right now my main priority is just to get a couple weapons that I can go ahead and start beating people down with. Now, I should probably go ahead and talk about the meta, the loot pool of this season. Obviously, I've already got a couple guns right now in my hands. I've got a shotgun, an AR, and a mammoth pistol, which is kind of its own division. I guess it's technically a pistol is what it'd be considered. Yeah, so the ARs, there were 3 different ARs, but now there are 4 ARs, because they had the collateral AR, the burst AR, and then we had the red eye, or not the red eye. What's it called? I'm blanking on the name now, but yeah, there were 4 different ARs, three different ARs at first, but 4 now. My 2 personal favorites include the one that I can't remember the name of, and the collateral AR. I'm about to beam this guy with the collateral AR now. This gun actually has very little spread and is absolutely lethal for no reason. This is one of the other ARs, a twin mag AR. This is new. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it is a good one to have if you aren't great at gun control, or you need a pretty simple scope. It's not my favorite again. It has a lot of recoil, which isn't terrible, but it definitely can provide some issues if you're in the middle of a gunfight and you're trying to kill somebody quickly. That's why I really like the collateral. It's got very little spread, it's got very little recoil, and it's so easy to use. Yeah, so definitely know the different types of weapons. You know which weapons are good for each season. So, like I said, the collateral AR is so cracked right now. This one's a good one, scoped burst AR, or SMG. That's a good one. Yeah, just learn the meta. Learn what type of weapons you like to carry. Right now, if you look at my little bar at the bottom, you can see my inventory. I've got 2 ARs and 2 pistols Here it is, the Hollow Twister. That's the name of it. That's my favorite gun right now. Yeah, so I've got 2 ARs. Those are my 2 green guns right there. I always like to organize them so that my long distance or my medium to long distance weapon, the Hollow Twister, is on the far left. That's my primary gun that I like to use. And then collateral damage is my medium to short range weapon, or sometimes I put the shotgun there. You saw me have the shotgun in that slot earlier. And then my 4th slot is my utility or extra weapon slot. So a lot of times I put movement in that slot, or if I don't have the movement for that, I'll put another weapon. So I've got the purple suppressed pistol there now, and then I've got a mammoth pistol, which is I'm just carrying for the sake of carrying. I'm probably going to actually trade out for porta bunkers. There we go. So I got utility, and that last slot is usually a weapon. And then that middle slot is my movement. It's movement / utility. So carrying utility is always super important. Having some type of movement. Shockwaves are so cracked. People sleep on shockwaves. I'm actually going to get that gun in a minute. But shockwaves are really, really, really important. And I can't state how important they are. They're something that's in practically every season. When they're not, it feels, the game feels naked in a sense. But shockwaves are super important to know how to use, to carry. They're just an all-around, they're so solid to have. So definitely get good at those. Get good at using shockwaves, and I'll actually do a video on those at some point. I've taught a couple people how to use them, and they are brutal. I mean, if you can get good with them, they will completely change the game for you. So definitely get good with shockwaves. This season, another movement item that they have is the rocket ram, or not the rocket ram, that's from a different season. This one's called the, it's like the rocket drill or something like that. I don't remember what it's called, but that is also super useful, and typically I carry it in that 4th slot instead of this porta bunker, but obviously I haven't come across one yet, so that's not really an option. But at some point, if I get one of those, it's pretty much how my loadout looks throughout a match. Yeah, so there are definitely a lot of different playing styles that you can play with. This one just very much works for my playing style. I play with a kind of almost aggressive loadout. Something I mentioned earlier was healing, the healing priority. I don't carry healing. I pick healing up in the beginning of the round, and that's about it. I heal, and it's usually one of the first things I end up grabbing. There's a med kit. I don't carry anything, and maybe that is, some people would say that's a terrible idea. But like I mentioned in the previous video, I've played like over 1,400 hours in this game, and it hasn't seemed to slow me down much. So, you know, I definitely would suggest using, or I wouldn't suggest it, but I would definitely suggest learning your playing style and getting good at your playing style. Yeah, I don't carry any form of healing. I really, really focus on movement and being able to move quickly. So movement really doesn't mean any, or not healing. Healing really doesn't mean anything to me until, you know, I'm cracked. And in that case, usually I'm just going to aim to kill somebody and take their healing. And that works out just fine for me, in my opinion. There are a lot of shockwaves around here. I've already got a full stack, so they're really not that useful to me at the moment, which is a good thing. Shockwaves I actually try to preserve usually. I definitely would suggest using utility, but sometimes shockwaves are hard to get a hold of, especially in situations when I have no other movement other than my shockwaves. I'm really going to try and conserve. So in this situation here, I'm definitely trying to conserve. And there might be someone here, I don't know. But I am going to try and be quiet. And when I... No, give me a second. Okay, yeah, so going into situations like this where I'm going into close quarters combat, I'm always going to have my second weapon equipped, my close range weapon. And that's just so that I can, in the case that I do end up getting in a fight, I can properly engage with the person. I don't have to worry about trying to switch to my close range weapon from my long range weapon. I don't have to worry about getting, you know, just absolutely smoked when I come into this place. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead, I guess, and unlock that vault real quick. But yeah, so definitely think about that. Being in close range, close quarters. Be prepared for the scenario that you have to fight someone, because typically you will end up having to fight someone. And even if not, it's just a good idea to be prepared for that specific scenario. Yep, so close range makes it hard for them. They probably can still do a pretty decent amount of damage to me, but it makes it a whole lot better for me if I don't have to worry about getting, you know, beamed and I'm not prepared. Something I want to mention that I don't think I've mentioned in any of my other videos is right hand peek. I don't know if you noticed there. If you didn't notice, I would suggest going back and rewatching that little clip. When I was shooting that bot, I immediately took cover behind this pillar here. And it's not like a ridiculous amount of cover, but it does give me a bit of an advantage. It makes it a little bit harder for him to hit me. And it's not a huge difference, but when you're in a fight with a real person, it really can make a massive difference. Okay, we got a couple bots. Okay. Obviously, sometimes people would be freaking out if they were playing and the storm's on them. Yes, that can be dangerous, especially if you're later on in the match. But I do know where some healing is, and I'm not too worried about it. Look, there's some more healing, so I can go ahead and throw that down and not worry about that too much. I do want this. Yeah. So I'm going to stick with this loadout for now. And my immediate goal is to then move to the storm. That's my... that's going to be my next priority. I'll just zoom over the house here. Into one of these cars. Usually there's a car that spawns here. And I'll move on. And obviously it'd be nice probably to carry some healing here in this moment, but it's not a priority. Not my priority, at least. Yeah, and I'll be fine. The storm's right there, so if nothing else, I'll stop at the gas station and maybe get some med kits or something. But look, there's a campfire, so I'll just actually chill out here. And when I'm at campfires, I'm gonna pay attention to everything around me, all my surroundings. Yeah. So in this situation, I'm in a nice valley, so people aren't really gonna be an issue unless they're chilling up at the top of one of these little sections. But the storm's moving, so most people are trying to rush right to the eye. Okay, so real quick, so far my loadout is pretty close to what I would like it to be. If possible, I'd like to switch out this shotgun for one of those rocket drills. And then I would also like to maybe try and get a better collateral AR. Which might happen if I get a kill up here. Alright, so in this situation I'm just going to get up here and try and kind of get an eye on the fight. Gauge it, see if I can run any of them down with my car. I really have no clue where they are, but there he is. Okay, so he's got a bat, so that is a pretty solid weapon, but I know how to fight those. Yeah, so. Ooh, yeah, he hit me. That's good. Okay, so yeah, did a lot of damage there. It's not really worth the fight anymore. I probably could have hit him with that shotgun, but I didn't respond quick enough, and they were pretty quick, so I'm gonna avoid that. But now I know what they've got. They've got a shotgun, they've got an AR and a sniper and a bat. So they definitely are dangerous, and I would like to try and avoid interactions with that specific person, if possible. But for now, I'm just gonna heal, back out, try to get my bearings on my situation. Okay, we are in the final 5 people now, so I really want to pay attention. I still haven't found a rocket, which kind of sucks, but we'll figure it out. Right now, my main priority is staying alive. If possible, I'll try and find something to move a little bit more with, a rocket. But I do have a pretty solid loadout at the moment, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah. Go check in this building real quick. Okay, nothing I want. Okay, but I do have a good opportunity here to gain some high ground, and then I'll just try and maintain that, potentially. And that'll give me a good opportunity going into this end game to just take anybody out that I possibly can. Yeah, I'm not seeing many people, but right now what I'm doing is I parked that car there, so I have a quick escape route that will take me straight to the eye if I need to just get in and go. And then I'm trying to keep an eye on everything around me, try to keep an eye out behind me, because there is the potential for someone to have to follow me up this hill. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case, but there were people fighting down there, so it may totally happen. But I would assume I'm probably going to have to worry about people moving over there, and maybe people actually fighting in the eye right now. Yeah, it looks like there are people fighting in the eye. So I'll go ahead and move that way. Again, I'm trying to take some high ground here. Maybe they might be up on the island. Might be a good idea to get over there, get into the eye. Yeah, it's me and one other person, so this might get a bit hairy. And I'm assuming it's actually probably the same person that beamed me earlier. Which is not exciting, but you know, it is what it is. So I have no clue where this guy is. Probably up there somewhere. No, he would have spooked the bot already. Oh, look at that. That is what I want right there. Yep. And it might not be a great idea for me to push for that, but I would assume this guy's probably somewhere healing. And I do have my pick of the stash, you know, so wonderful. There he is, right over there. Alright, so this is a situation where he doesn't have... Woo! Man. Yeah, okay. Okay. This is a bad situation. He's got me absolutely lasered at the moment. I don't think he knows that I'm not up there anymore. So I definitely am going to take advantage of that. Heal up as quick as possible. And move. Now, fortunately, I didn't pick up any medallions while I was up there, so I don't have to worry about that, about him knowing my location. What I do have to worry about is the fact that I also don't know his location. But he's up there on the mountain still, so if I can just figure out where he is before he figures out where I am, I could potentially... Okay, yeah, I'm assuming he's on this one here. Unfortunately, he'll have to come out here, so yeah, I'm just gonna let him do his thing, come down here, and maybe I can catch him off guard. Ah, there he is. This guy's pretty good, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm gonna make do. I've already got a crown, so hopefully I can keep a hold of that for a bit longer. So there's a good chance he'll probably come up right over the edge here in a second. And I'll see him, because he is going to be forced to move down here with me. Which is, there he is. That's what we like to see. Okay, he's right behind that rock up there. I don't know if he knows where I am, but I for sure know where he is, so. Yep, there he is. Look at him, he has no clue where I am. But again, I'm gonna have to move. So this is not great. Okay, well they went AFK, so that was, didn't feel like a fair win, but I'll take it. Yeah, so main takeaways for this video is understanding the meta, knowing your playing style, and yeah, using your utility, use your movement. That's what I was doing there. So obviously it wasn't super eventful round, but that's okay.